And thank you so much for joining me today. I am talking through my summer 2024 knitting plans. I cannot believe it is already June. I feel like this year is just going by very, very quickly. So, here today to first go over how my spring 2024 knitting plans went, talk about any inspiration I have for this summer, and then share the patterns I'm planning on making. So, let's get into it. To start off with my spring knitting plans, I did not get as much done as I wanted to, which is fine. At the end of the day, knitting is a hobby, and I need to keep reminding myself that. But I originally had 7 things on my plans for the spring, and I got 3 of them done. So that's quite different. I also specifically had, I'm counting right now, 4 garments and 3 accessories, and I got 2 accessories and 1 garment done. So that's pretty different than what I thought I would be able to accomplish, but I had a very, very busy spring. I'm already going into a busy summer, so I think I really need to change my expectations about how much I can knit, which I'm trying to do between work, enjoying other hobbies like reading and walking, other knits that inevitably always come up as far as making socks for friends, gift knitting, sample knits. Like, I need to pare down my knitting plans. So from my 7 spring knitting plans, I completed my swatch bag, which I've shown a few times, but I'll put a picture up. My Eva cardigan, which is actually right here, and I've already worn so many times. It's so comfortable, but here she is, my Eva cardigan in all her glory, and my hand spun project. So I did, over this period of time, learn to spin and then knit something up with my hand spun yarn. So that's pretty exciting. What I ended up making, I made 41 yards of yarn, or 17 grams, and I made a little hair bow. So you tie this in your hair to kind of go around a ponytail, and if I have enough left over that I might make a matching scrunchie, but yeah, it looks kind of silly when it's not in your hair, but I promise it looks cute once it's in your hair. I haven't worn it out yet, but check. I'll post it on my Instagram at some point, or you'll see more later. But yes, those are the 3 things I was able to complete from my spring knitting plans. So I did not complete a sweater that I wanted to design, foreshadowing. The twist loop top by Other Loops, also foreshadowing, and 2 other projects that if you watch my spring knitting plans, you will see them, but they're not worth talking about today because they're not going to come up until the fall or the winter, because I'm listening to my own advice, hopefully. So yeah, I got significantly less done than I planned. I remember saying in spring that this felt like a really accomplishable list. You know, in the past I'd not budgeted, but I'd planned 9 things in my winter fall knitting plans, and wow, 6 to 7 is going to be so accomplishable. You know, 3 of these are accessories. It's only 4 garments. Like, this is going to go great. And now I'm sitting here laughing at myself, but stuff happens, life gets busy, and that is kind of the theme of my summer knitting plans, is life is busy. So that's a very brief update on my spring knitting plans. I think normally I go over them in more detail, but there's not that much to share. So I want to start getting into the summer knitting plans that hopefully you'll actually see from me in the next few months. And yeah, let's get into it. I actually have all the yarn that I want to use this summer, which is hopefully going to enable me to actually knit these in a, I don't know, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, it doesn't matter when I get these things done. This is a hobby, it's fun. I don't have deadlines for any of these, it's internally set, but I still do want to have the items I'm talking about. So I don't want to say I hope you see them from me, because I don't want to put pressure on myself, but I do hope to get these done. So I have the yarn, and hopefully that will help me to knit these up and, you know, just remove a barrier. It doesn't mean then, oh, I have to be really efficient because I already own the yarn, but it does remove a barrier. And there's a cat trying to get into the bag of yarn I have in front of me. But we will just start off. I've prioritized these, so I'm presenting them in the priority of how badly I want them done. So, or not, again, it's fine if they don't happen this month. Or this season. I don't want to pressure myself because I will explain a little bit about how busy I'm about to be in a moment. After I go through my plans, I'll talk about what's coming up and give some just like admin updates as well. But I don't want knitting to be stressful because I basically will not be home for June. So I need to keep that in mind. So with that disclaimer, and with trying to talk to myself to get myself to stop putting pressure on me, I know none of you are doing that. It's just me. Let's get into it. So the first knitting plan I have for this summer is a oversized raglan v-neck sweater using this yarn, which is from Poppy and Spruce Fiber. It is the colorway Hey There Sporgus. It's a beautiful kind of peachy cream yarn. It's on her Birch DK base, which is a 100% non-superwash merino yarn. It's 20.5 microns, and I feel like as a knitter I should know what that means at this point, but I know it means it's very soft, but I don't exactly know what the microns mean in this moment. If someone wants to educate me, let me know. I just know soft. But this is such soft yarn. I received the yarn for sample knit compensation. Well, partially I did pay for a fair amount of it, but I sample knit for Abby, oh gosh, in February, maybe earlier. It was a pre-order though, so received my yarn a few months later. Actually realized I ordered half of what I needed, so I had to order more yarn. So now I finally have the 6 skeins of yarn I need to make a v-neck sweater. And this was on my spring knitting plans as well. And I just really want to kind of design for myself, see if I can make a pattern from scratch. I have some really great ideas for kind of just a simple v-neck sweater, but I love the way raglans fit me. And I almost exclusively see v-neck sweaters knit drop shoulder. So I want to combine the raglan construction with a v-neck for myself, maybe add 2x2 rib details. I want the raglan to be pretty seamless as well. So want to play around with different techniques for that. I might even do like, I really loved the way this Eva cardigan was constructed, where it was kind of a combo between a drop shoulder and a raglan. I love the fit of it. So I might want to do a v-neck with that kind of fit. I'm really not sure yet. I just know it's going to be a v-neck and have some element of raglan shaping in it. So I really want to make that this summer. It was a plan for me in the spring, and part of me feels like I'm intentionally avoiding it because designing feels scary. And I'm trying to conquer that for myself because it's just string and sticks. It's going to be fine if I have to rip back, or if I end up using this for someone else's design and buy a pattern, that's also okay. But I don't know, I owe it to myself to try to design, see if I like it, see if, you know, I can do it. So I have this yarn that I specifically bought to sample knit, to incentivize, or to try designing, to incentivize myself, and I want to use it. This yarn deserves to be used, and I deserve to, I don't know, try something new. So that's why it's highest on my priorities, even though it is going to be a long sleeve DK weight sweater. So it's not really practical for the season, but just, I feel like I need to conquer my fear or apprehension about designing and just get it started. So I have this as my first thing on my agenda, and I actually will probably take it on one of my trips, which I feel like I'm alluding to. I'll get into them more, but hopefully I start this in the month of June between different travels. So that's my first plan. I don't really have pictures because it will be, you know, something that I create, but maybe I can try to put a few inspiration pictures up if I have some. So yeah, that's the first plan. We've talked about it before if you watch my spring knitting plans, but here it is again. It's back, and I promise. This is the one plan that I'm like, if I don't do this by fall, please yell at me. Please. Everything else, let me off the hook. It's knitting, it's okay. But if I don't design, please yell at me because I really want to do this. So, okay, I've talked enough about it. So, okay, that is my first plan and a high priority plan. And then my second plan is with this yarn, which look at the drape on it. And I want to make a Moonset tee with this yarn. So this is yarn from Salty Blonde Fiber. It's her summer blend. So it's a 50% alpaca, 25% linen, and 25% silk blend. It's fingering weight, 438 yards to 100 grams. And the color is stunning. So this is part of Ryan of Salty Blonde Fiber's summer pastels collection. I forget the exact name, but she has a tonals collection plus a few extras from her Jane Austen Book Club collection that are available across a variety of different bases. She has a new prairie base, which is a Shiniko wool. I'm forgetting the blend now. I think it's BFL and Merino or Rambouillet and Merino. I think it's Rambouillet and Merino. So there's that available. There's this summer blend, and then her normal superwash bases as well are all available in this fun pastel colorway collection, and then also a fun throwback to her Jane Austen book collection. They all look wonderful, and I sample knit for her. So I made a shawl for her last month with some of her new yarns. It was a wonderful experience, and as sample knit compensation, I got 3 skeins of her yarn. So I opted for her linen base or the summer base, because I wanted to get at least one summer knit done this year. I love a nice summer knit. And I've worked with alpaca, linen, silk in the past and really love it. So I was excited to see her offer it in such a beautiful color. And so yeah, that is enough about the yarn. I'm planning on making the Moonset tee, which is a pattern by Ozetta. It's just a really nice t-shirt. I really love the cross detail in the front. It's actually kind of, without the collar, it's a similar neckline to the shirt I'm currently wearing. It would be a lot looser because I've learned for myself that for summer garments, I almost exclusively want positive ease garments. I just find the negative ease summer garments tend to get a lot itchier for me, and I can tolerate a non-summer fiber if it's looser a lot easier than a summer fiber if it's tight to my body. So, I'd rather wear a loose merino tank top than a tight silk one, because the loose merino is going to have more airflow at least. So I'm opting for the Moonset tee for my summer, kind of definite summer knit this year for that reason. And yeah, I love the way it fits. I think that it's going to be a really nice knit. It's been on my list of things I wanted to make for a really long time, and I'm really happy to have the yarn and the inspiration to do so this year. So that's my next plan. And we're going quickly. I should have mentioned there are 5 plans on here, by the way. My next plan is actually sponsoring this video as well. So I've talked about them before, but my next plan is to make these flower pot crochet coasters from Hooks and Needles. So I talked about Hooks and Needles in my last podcast as well. They have kindly sponsored me a few times, and they are a knitting and crochet subscription box. So it comes monthly, but you can change it at any time if you would like. They're really flexible about pausing or canceling, and each month they send you a seasonally curated box with enough yarn to make a project, as well as 3 patterns in a nice booklet that looks like this, that vary from beginner, intermediate to advanced levels. So they're a really great business. I think they offer a really awesome product. They sent me in May both the crochet and the knitting box. I talked about both of them in my last podcast episode. If you are interested in hearing more, I went into a little bit more depth about both boxes, but today I want to talk specifically about the crochet box because I think that it's going to be really fun to learn a little bit more about crochet. So in each box, they send 150 grams or enough yarn to make a project, the patterns, anything you need to make the patterns that they suggest. For instance, the crochet booklet last time included a pattern for a little rabbit amaguri. I never know if I'm pronouncing that right, but a little rabbit stuffy. So the box included polyfill as well as safety eyes to complete that project. And then they finally always include a little gift. So for the spring boxes or the May box, it was some nice spring jasmine tea, but they will also include things like stitch markers or chocolate or other just little gifts to make your crafting experience more fun. So I think that they're a great business. I really love, the fact that they support smaller creators is always nice to see in businesses, and they are themselves a small business. So really recommend checking them out. I think they offer really great products. This yarn is amazing. I'm going to talk about the project in a sec, but yarn that they sent for both the knitting and crochet box is amazing. The crochet box is bamboo. The knitting had cotton, so it is also seasonally conscious about, what fibers are appropriate for May making if you want to use something at that time versus, in the winter they'd send more wool kind of fabrics based on, or wool fibers based on what's seasonally appropriate, also in kind of seasonal colors as well. So really great business that really helps, whatever skill level you're at, you can learn a lot from it because you get a little project each month. Or if you are a more advanced knitter or crocheter, you can kind of engage more with the seasonal crafting because they send specific yarns that match the color palettes of that season, the fibers of that season, have projects specific to whatever month, season you're in. So overall, great business. And yeah, I really want to make these floral pot coasters. So essentially you crochet a bunch of little coasters and then you crochet a thing to hold all the coasters in, and all the coasters have linings with the pink and the green here to make little flowers. And when you fold them all into the flower pot, it looks like a little pot of flowers, but then it's also a very usable product. So I think that would be really fun to make for summer. I don't know, I'm trying to conjure like a summer camp vibe for myself this year. That's kind of my only inspiration, which is not a knitting inspiration, but I want to feel like it's summer camp. And nothing reminds me more of summer camp than learning something new or trying a new hobby. So I am trying crochet for that reason. I've made one granny square in the past, but otherwise I am trying crochet again. And I think it'll be really nice, relaxing in between some of my larger knitting projects to try something new, engage a different part of my brain, and excited for this project. So it's high up on my list of things I want to make just because I want to do something new, and they might look horrible, although there's really good instructions for hooks and needles, so hopefully they don't look horrible, but if they do, it's on me. But still, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a new way to engage my brain. So that is high up on my knitting / crocheting plans for this summer. And thank you, Hooks and Needles, for sending this to me. I think it's going to be really fun. Thank you all for watching through sponsorships. I really appreciate it. If you are also interested in getting into crochet from their crochet box or knitting vice versa, or just interested in one of their boxes, you can use the code HANDMAKES20 for 20% off your first box. There's also a link in the description if you want to learn more about them and get that discount. My next thing on my agenda that I want to knit this summer is actually a reknit. So I have a finished object that I need to unfinish. This is my Friday slipover. I knit this in January and I just made it too big. The gauge is a little bit larger than it should be. Specifically, it's 17 stitches by 27 rows. I don't remember the gauge for petite knits. I think it's closer to 22 stitches. So whatever it is, it's significantly off after it's kind of relaxed for a little while and been blocked and everything. So I want to reknit it at, and I like the gauge. I don't want to change the gauge, but I want to make it a smaller size. And I also kind of critiqued the pattern at the time for the fact that there's no shaping in the back. You can see my cast on here. It was just a rectangle that I kind of knit down and then ultimately picked up to knit in the round. And I feel like this pattern could really benefit from a little bit more shaping. So I guess there's a little bit here, but I mean, like, you know how a lot of drop shoulders have kind of this trapezoid shape where it's like, here is your neckline, it goes down for your shoulders, and then it goes down like that for your armholes and maybe like shapes for them. So I kind of want to revise the pattern to include that, and I also have to change the size to a wholly different size. So I'm making 133% of the pattern gauge, so if I want the bust circumference that I do, that size does not exist in the current pattern. So I'm going to have to kind of rewrite it fully to get a size that works for me with my gauge and my desired bust circumference. and to include that shoulder shaping. So really want to redesign it because this armhole, way too deep, the V-neck, way too deep, and it just feels overall like it has too much ease on me. So I would like to make it a smaller fit and yeah, make it just a better object for me because I do really want to wear this. It's a beautiful piece. It uses beautiful yarn. Specifically, this yarn is, oh my gosh, I made this so long ago, but it's the Joshua Tree National Park colorway Surrey from Explorer Knits, held with one of the Bear yarns from Knit Picks. I think it's Stroll, but it's a 50-50 merino silk blend. And then in the collar and armholes and bottom, I've used Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk in the color Powder Pink to make this really nice garment where I love the yarn. It feels great on my body. I love the colors. Just needs to be smaller. So I'm going to reknit it and change a few things along the way. So that feels funny to say, here's my knitting plan and then hold up a finished object, but I need to reknit it. So that's on my plans. And then my final knitting plan for this month is, or not this month, that would drive me crazy. For this season, this summer, is to make the twist loop top in this Knitting for Olive merino in the colorway Wild Berries. So the twist loop top, it's patterned by Other Loops. I'll have a picture up. It's a beautiful pattern. I've been obsessed with it for a while. I saw Pages and Pearls, Hannah from Pages and Pearls, work on it a while ago and thought it was beautiful. I've seen it a few times before as well, but I do really love the pattern. It's just really nice, kind of wider ribbing with a beautiful cable down the front. I think it would be wonderful to wear. I've mentioned I work from home and would look really professional in a meeting with like a little cardigan over it, which is like great, be something that I can wear professionally in the summer or spring for work. So really want to have it for that reason. I will say that it's not the most size inclusive pattern and I am trying. I'm not going to be perfect, but I am really trying to consider size inclusivity more. I know that a lot of people watch me and I want to be able to give you all recommendations for things that are actually going to fit a wide group of people, not just straight sizes. So I am debating that with myself of, do I still want to make that pattern? I think it's beautiful. I can't find any patterns like it through my searches. So I'm kind of debating. If you have thoughts on that issue, please let me know down in the comments below. Would you make a non-size inclusive pattern yourself? What do you think about me? I know I feel weird saying I have an audience, but I know that there are lots of you watching and I don't want to recommend patterns that people who watch me can't knit because they're not size inclusive, and I don't want to really support designers that aren't listening to this push for more size inclusivity in the knitting space. So it feels like a hard moral debate for me. I bought this yarn, months ago. This was on my spring knitting plans as well, but my mindset around size inclusivity has changed a little bit since then, and I'm trying to consider it more. So I already bought the yarn with that pattern in mind. It's a fingering weight pattern. I have 3 skeins of the Knitting for Olive merino. And so I'm really debating on if I should continue with that plan because I love the finished object. I love the way that this top looks, or if there is a similar recommendation that is more size inclusive, or yeah, just what do you all think? I think outsourcing this is maybe the best way to, or not outsourcing, but getting others' opinions is the best way I can really determine what's the best course for me. So let me know what you think. But I've thought a lot about making the twist loop top, and it's at the bottom of my priorities just because I want some more time to mull it over and decide, am I going to make something else? But I want it to be ribbed. I want a nice detail. I love the cables. And I don't want to either rip off the pattern because I was thinking like, oh, maybe I could figure out, it's a pretty simple cable design. It would be like a pretty simple piece, I think. Maybe that's just my hubris. I've never designed anything in my life, but it seems like it is a more simple fit. So maybe I could figure out how to do it myself. But if I'm just ripping off a pattern, like an existing pattern, is that more ethical or more moral than just buying the pattern? Because like, I don't know, Other Loops is still a small business, a small designer. I don't want to just rip her off either. So it's kind of a weird place where I don't want to support her. I really want the piece. I have the yarn for it. I really would like to make it. I've talked about it before. It would fit into my life and my wardrobe really well. But I also don't want to support that, and I don't want to rip off a designer. So let me know what you think I should do. I'm really open to hearing from you all of what you think the best approach is, what morally for you makes the most sense, or ethically for you is the best. And yeah, we'll see from there what I end up doing. But those are my knitting plans. So there's only 5 for this season. I know I normally have more. I normally have more inspiration as well, but really my inspiration for this season is just enjoying summer, getting outside and not stressing. Specifically, I'm also I leave for Tanzania for a work trip on Saturday. Most likely, my flights are not booked yet, but I leave for Tanzania. By the time you're watching this, I am in the country. And I will be there for a little over a week. And then I am coming home for 36 hours. And then I'm getting on a cruise to Alaska with my grandma. So I will not be home a lot for June. I don't expect to get a lot of knitting done. I am going to bring some knitting with me, but we'll see how much actually gets done between all of that travel. I imagine I'm just going to be tired for a lot of it, and so don't want any pressure on me for that reason as well. So a lot to fit in. I'm also pre-filming this, so yeah, I'm filming it on a weekday as well. I maybe should have mentioned that in the beginning if I seem a little more tired or a little more out of it. It's the evening for me. I just worked and getting ready for dinner and all that kind of great stuff. So yeah, lots to consider for the next few months ahead. I'm going to be busy, and when I'm not traveling, I do want to be outside, seeing friends, getting in bodies of water. I was kind of joking with my friend that I talked a lot about Chicken Girl Spring, or having like kind of a chicken owner inspired spring. And I was saying I want a duck summer, and not like a duck owner or anything like that. I want to be a duck and just be by bodies of water, relax, eat blueberries, like have little snacks, and just have a nice, like, warm, happy summer. So I'm trying to channel that while also channeling all this busy stuff. So yeah, we'll see what happens with knitting this summer. I think I'm still going to get a lot done. I still do love knitting and want to engage in it, but I'm not one of those people that likes knitting at the pool or the beach, or even really a movie theater, or like walking. I really only like knitting when I'm inside. I worry a lot about getting my project sandy, or getting sunscreen on it, or like dropping a ball of yarn on a walk. So I mostly am an indoor knitter, which means I don't really bring my knitting places with me. Or I don't know, I knit on like a patio, but I don't really want to knit on the beach or around the pool. I would worry about chlorine or sunscreen or things like that. So it kind of limits how much I knit in the summer. My videos for the next few weeks, because I am going to be gone. I've pre-filmed a couple of them. So you'll see this video. I've also filmed a knitting patterns video, and then I need to finish up, but I should have this done, a vlog of me learning to spin. So you will see those over the next few weeks, but I am going to be traveling a lot. I can't film. I don't trust, or I can film. You might see something. Maybe I'll do a vlog of these trips. I don't know, but you're not going to see me uploading in the next few weeks, because I'm going to be on a cruise in the middle of the ocean, and I'm going to be in Tanzania. I do not trust the internet in either place to upload videos, so can't really do that. So I will not be able to upload every week while I'm gone. So hopefully you don't miss me too much. I'll be back. I'll try to respond to comments as much as I can, but just know, I'm going to be busy. I'm not sure about my internet connection as well. So if I don't talk to you all for a while, thank you for being here. And, I hope to see you all in July. And you'll see me a few times in June, but I'll see you back in real time in July. And yeah, enjoy the month of June, which feels crazy to say. And comment down below. First of all, please give me advice about knitting size uninclusive patterns. Would you do it? Do you have a pattern recommendation for what I can do instead? What do you think? And then also tell me what you are planning on making this summer. I would really love to hear down below if you have some really great plans. If you're not into planning this summer, whatever it is, let me know. But all right, thank you all for watching, and thanks again, Tucks and Needles. Use the code handmakes20 if you are interested in buying from them. Links also down below. And with that all, I'll see you all soon. Okay, bye.